Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and appreciate the opportunity to have this hearing. I'll start with Mr. Gillen. I'd like to talk about the Embers report, and basically DoD NTIA concluded that the 3 gigahertz band couldn't be cleared for exclusive use. So I kind of want to talk through a sharing model or a segment model, and really what I want to hear is what needs to happen, especially from DoD. What do we need DoD to come back with? How do we need to work together? What settings are we expecting that to happen? And I'm familiar with this band. I've used it in professional career, and kind of want to get to the bottom of where we need to go process-wise.
Absolutely, and I think there's just been a misunderstanding amongst everybody as to what our goal here is. If you think about the lower 3 gigahertz spectrum, it's 350 megahertz. That's almost as much a spectrum as 5G has available for it. No one thinks all those radars should go away. That's a bad idea. And too much of this conversation is, oh, we need $200 million and $200 billion in 20 years to do something that no one's asking them to do. That ultimately, we need to get to a place that we have engineer to engineer. We think segmentation makes the most sense around what's happening globally. So if you look at just the top 150, and then in that top 150, what are those systems? There are systems, there's a missile defense facility in Alaska. No one should move that. There's no need to move that. There's AWACS, there's the airborne system out there that's gonna get replaced by Wedgetail in 2032. So let's talk about what's available in 2032. There's other systems, let's say it's using channel 5. It's like old TV, can it work on channel 3? Other systems, can we talk about, can we use it smaller channels if we actually invest? Some of the money from the last auction is going to the Navy to move S radars to X radars that are actually better in a drone environment. So we think that we've got to get away from a binary choice. It's either the military or wireless. We need both. We just need to be smarter and more efficient. Yep. And we just start with getting engineers talking on a system-by-system basis, understanding your needs, understanding our needs, and making everybody stronger.
Well, I couldn't agree more, and I think working together, and I use those AI radars. I flew those aircraft. I used the services of aircraft like AWACS, and I think the time and geographic, the ability to bifurcate those and to separate. So I want to explore more on the segmentation process. Mr. Powell, I'll let you answer there, and I've got a question for Ms. Ronaldo after that.
Well, I think I could only incrementally add that, I mean, the answer we just heard sounded a little bit like finding ways to share. And that's exactly what we're supporting. I think the big conflict is, are we going to move forcefully in that direction, following the examples and precedents we've had in the past to do so? Or are we going to continue to fight over how much we can actually take away for full-powered exclusive use by the commercial industry? I mean, I appreciate that you could go through system by system, but I think we also have to respect the military experts' judgments on what they need and how they need it. Those of us in industry, engineers or otherwise, aren't necessarily the best people to make those national security decisions.
Do you feel like that we have been together in the right rooms at the right classification level to understand each other?
I probably don't have enough direct experience to answer that question, but I would say, look, there's a component of what happens on the military side that stays behind a confidential curtain. You have to trust that people are protecting things that must be protected. But typically, we learn enough about what they're doing to have a pretty good appreciation of what the sort of range of possibilities is.
I'm convinced that we can share. I'm convinced that there's a plan that we can make work. And actually, the benefit will be innovation, and that will benefit DoD as well. It's a finite band. Ms. Ronaldo, I'll come to you in your testimony. You talk about the role standard setting bodies such as the World Radio Conference, Radio Communications Conference, and what that plays in shaping technology. I think there's some concerns about that process and concerns about getting to that conference and having the U.S. take a leadership role. What needs to change in that process, and how do we affect it better beforehand?
So I think there's been a lot of chaos going into the WRC, and it's so incredibly important that we go in and we have debate, right? We have the fight in the room. That's where great ideas happen. But then when we leave that room, we need to have a decisive decision, and people need to stick to that decision, and that's been the breakdown. So if we're at WRC and we're still fighting, then our adversary is winning.
Mr. Chairman, great hearing today. Our national security depends on this. I'm convinced that innovation will result from moving forward with an auction. Yield back.